有拍摄。
看样子我是必须得出来主持一下。好，各位老师，大家好，今天是我们那个双语团队呢，在111学年度呢，办理的一个双语职能研习第一次。那我们这一次呢，邀请到我们的 JESSY 老师呢，他是一个我们双语的一个CLIO 的一个专家。已经经过国教署的教授们认证，他是相当具有专业的职能的一位老师。我们特别邀请到他来帮我们做介绍。那所以在他介绍之前呢，我们今天还是非常非常感谢我们的特别来宾，就是我们的校长来到我们的会场，来到我们的现场呢，帮我们致辞。我们欢迎鼓掌，欢迎校长。谢谢校长。Please, and your microphone.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My dear colleagues, I'm the principal of Yangmei Senior High School, 周月庭. Thank you all for coming. It's an honor to be here today. We gather here to learn more. A career classroom, including lesson planning and teaching strategies. JESSY teacher is an expert teacher in Yangmei Senior High School bilingual team. JESSY English class aroused a sensation among our students. I believe we can learn a lot from JESSY. Hope our teachers gain a lot. Most importantly, apply all the teaching strategies to your class. Bilingual education accesses students to new horizons and enriching experiences, which is also the national policy in the future. Your students will be amazed by and benefit from your work hard and efforts. Thank you very much.
Amazing.
So
Thank you, Principal. And on behalf of all our bilingual team, we really appreciate your hard work and efforts. And with all of your support, we can grow and gain a lot from today's seminar. Thank you very much. Thank you. And now let's welcome today's speaker, Miss JESSY. Welcome. Oh, sorry, our introduction part will be Teacher Anderson. Teacher Anderson, please come over here. Everybody, big hands, please. Thank you. Yes, sure.
好，校长、各位还有各位教学伙伴们，大家晚安，我是 Anderson。那我今天扮演的角色是要介绍，要郑重介绍我们今天3位的 speaker。那一位是主讲者，2位是2位是接棒的主讲者。OK， 那首先呢，我们先介绍一下，就是我们都知道在2023年双语政策蓝图开始推展之后，我们就教育部开始投入很多心力，就是要去聘请一些外籍老师跟双语老师加入这个所谓的台湾的双语教学的团队。那我们阳明高中很幸运，目前我们有4位老师，有2位外籍老师，一位是 Teacher JESSY 今天主讲者，另外一位是Teacher Mika， 他坐在另外一边。那我们也有2位双语老师，一位是Duncan 老师在这里，然后另外一位是 Brian 老师在这边传统对语多。那我们有幸有这4位老师的加入，那他们就是在我们学校很努力的 推展，也在进行所谓的可利有教学。那可利有教学就是我们今天的seminar 我们的座谈会的一个重点。那等一下他们老师们会一一的分享他们的教学经验，还有他们的专业。OK， 那首先呢，我要介绍我们今天的 keynote speaker。今天的 keynote speaker 是那个 Miss JESSY 那她是一位非常多才多艺的老师。那这位老师呢，他第一个就是他在刚才组长有介绍过，他是很专业的，然后他在那个可利有跟双语教学方面，他有很深厚的底子、深厚的知识跟经验。那除此之外，他其实也参与了蛮多的，就是一些跟教学、跟文化、跟口说有关的活动。比如说，他是那个像模拟联合国里面的，他是一个叫 Verbal Commendation Award，他其实基本上是一个获奖的人然后呢，他是曾经担任，就是在这一个领域，他担任的就是代表像模拟联合国里面，然后代表芬兰的一个角色这样。那再来的话，就是除此之外，他也是那个 Toastmaster International， 就是这是一个，他是里面的一个活跃的一个成员。那这个 Toastmaster 是一个就是致力在那个就是英语演说这一块方面的一个组织机构。OK， 那此外呢，他目前也在协助那个菲律宾的研究人员在台湾进行一个可利有的研究，所以他其实有很多就是他的专业跟他的专业跟他的学习都是跟可利有就是息息相关的。OK， 那他今天会跟我们分享很多他关于在可利有方面的一些他很那个很难能很宝贵的一些经验跟他的见解看法。那第二位登场的就是我们的Mr. 当空，就是王冠平老师。那王冠平老师他今天会介绍的就是SDGs， 就是联合国在推的这个所谓的永续发展目标。那此外呢，他还会就是介绍一个非常就是强大好用的网站，叫 Cool Australia。那在这个网站上面呢，你可以就是去获取许多关于 SDGs 的一些适合的我们学生的议题教材，还有一些活动等等的。OK， 那今天最后一位演讲者的话，就是 Mr. Brian 就是叶允君老师。那叶允君老师部分，他会带我们一起解读那个所谓的在可利有里面有所谓的 4C 的概念。OK， 那他也会讲到 4C 是如何可以怎么样去结合所谓的这个 SDGs 永续发展目标。OK， 那因为我等一下个人觉得比较遗憾的，比较不好意思，就是我等一下有课，所以我会先离开，没有办法全程跟大家一起参与这个 seminar。不过我相信就是与会的老师们都一定能够从这三位 speaker 身上会学到很多的东西。那就是预祝大家有一个很美好的下午。那我们接下来就是Let's welcome our first speaker today, Miss JESSY Silva. Thank you.
Welcome, JESSY.
All right, thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you to the school, to the bilingual team, and to everyone who are here attending for this seminar today. It's my pleasure to share with you my knowledge, because when I was in Kaohsiung, I also attended a lot of seminars, and they focused more on CLIL. And I remember last November, we were interviewed by the Ministry of Education, and they asked questions about CLIL. And fortunately, we gave the appropriate response, and they even recommended that we create seminars like this one. So we hope that at the end, we create a more dynamic and a bigger and more inclusive bilingual, not only bilingual team, but bilingual CLIL team. Okay?
That's good, that's good.
Alright, so to officially start, in today's world, people use English to talk about different subjects. For example, how much is this? How much?
How much?
How much?
2,000?
2,000? That's mathematics. What is this about?
Lotus.
Lotus? That's art. What's your Facebook name?
I don't want to tell you.
Okay, that's computer. What else? So, in everyday life, we use English to talk about different subjects with different people. We don't use English to talk about grammar. We don't use English to talk about vocabulary. Instead, we talk about issues. We talk about culture. We talk about events and many more. That's why in this CLIL seminar, we do not have only English teachers. We have math teachers. Who are the math teachers here? Okay, math teachers. We have science teachers. Good. We have art teachers. We have PE teachers. Because in CLIL, the nature of CLIL is we use the content in math, in PE, in science, in arts, and we use what we know about them and learn English through it. That's the nature of CLIL. That's why we invited a lot of teachers in different areas. So we hope that by the end of this lesson, we hope that you get the significance of this CLIL and you get to know what are the techniques in order to achieve a good and effective CLIL lesson. So first, we have here 4 letters. What do you think does C stand for? C.
Content.
Very good, content. How about L? Language, that's English. Content means math, PE, science, art. Language, that's English. And then I?
Interpreting.
Very good. So we have a good principle that have right knowledge of CLIL. Integrated. And L? Learning. Very good. So when we speak about CLIL, we use content and language together as one lesson. Next one is, alright, so before we proceed further, I'm going to show you briefly the 6 stages of CLIL planning. And to be honest, we're still in the first stage, which is called the CLIL planning. What we are doing here in seminar is to set up a team of not only language teachers. Right now in the bilingual team, we only have English teachers, mostly, but we hope that as we create a CLIL bilingual team, we also have teachers from math, science, art, PE, history, civics, and come up with a strong bilingual team. So we have subject teachers and also the school management, like the principal, the school director, the student director, and many more. And then we have a meeting on what kind of vision, what kind of goals do we have for before the end of the semester or before the end of the school year. The second one is CLIL in context. We localize, meaning we have to deal on what does the school need. Aside from taking consideration on the bilingual policy, because in MOE by 2030, the MOE wants to be a bilingual nation, meaning someone who can speak English and Chinese, bilingual. But aside from the policy here, we can also create our own regulations and policies to cooperate with this bilingual nation vision. And then we have specialization, the regional and national policies, and the type of school. What is the school good at? For example, we're good at what's the specialty of the school?
Information technology.
Yeah, so we can incorporate information communications technology, ICT, and then we focus more on making our objectives under this CLIL. The third one is to plan a unit. Now that we have made our own team, we have to consider the parts of CLIL. And then we have the 4 C's as mentioned by Anderson. We have the first C, content, second, communication, third, cognition, and fourth is culture. We're going to talk more about these later on. And then 4 is to prepare a unit. Now that we have made our objectives, sometimes it's difficult for the teachers, especially the new teachers, to adapt to the CLIL. They are used to teaching in traditional setting. Like for example, they talk in class and then the student listen, and then after the lecture, The student will answer some questions, will be given activities. That's the traditional teaching. So when we adapt to CLIL, we have to adjust from traditional teaching and then going to the CLIL lesson planning. So we're going to teach you those strategies later on. Number 5 is evaluation and monitoring. We have to assess, to check if this is effective, this is not, or what should be improved on. What are the strengths, what are the good points, what are the bad points in the lesson. And monthly and yearly, we have to make a report if it is effective or not. And then last one, we have the CLIL community, where we it's not only in school, but we also talk with other schools in Taiwan. That's why we have seminars by the Ministry of Education in Changhua, in Taipei, to talk about problems. So what are the struggles? What are the good you can share? So those are the steps. So we're not going to delve more on that, but we're focusing more on 4C. So the first one is, okay, 4C means content. Content means it's the subject. For example, PE, math, art, music. And then, in this kind of content, there is a theme and topic. For example, I'm going to present later on an example of this, and it should be interlinked with everyday life. It should be related to what they experience. It's not about ideas. Like for example, in mathematics, you talk more about cosine, tangent, which is not, sometimes students cannot relate that much. But in CLIL, we have to find problems in math that can be solved in everyday life. That's what we do in content. Okay, for example, we have math teacher, science teacher, PE teacher, arts teacher, geography teacher, English teacher. And this December, they come up with a meeting and they decided the theme is about Christmas. So, now that they have the theme, the math teacher, one of the objectives of math teacher is to find triangles in Christmas decorations. So, using that theme, for example, it's about trigonometry. Who teaches trigonometry here? About triangles. Yeah, trigonometry. Or yeah, I think I'm teaching trigonometry with Director Rongbindi, so I use this as a sample. So finding triangles in Christmas tree or in Christmas decorations. That's one objective. In science, since the theme is about Christmas, we can have the topic series and parallel circuits. Do you know this one? The bulb. We have the series and the parallel circuits, and we analyze this to the Christmas lights. Like for example, Christmas lights and paroles in the Philippines, if they are series or parallel. In number 3, geography. Geography means about places. We talk more about countries that celebrate Christmas and their traditions. So that's the topic for geography. And then for physical education, maybe you talk more about recreational games. Games that are usually played during Christmas. Especially in the Philippines, there are a lot of games, especially during Christmas parties. So you can talk more about games. And then for arts, the content may be about Christmas tree, particularly the principles of design. Like for example, the balance, the colors, the balance, the composition, harmony, etc. But we analyze more on Christmas tree around the world. And then in music, it's about Christmas carols around the world. Because in the Philippines, we have our own way of caroling. So that's the first step. You agree on a theme. Like for example, in October, it's about Halloween. So for math, science, PE, music, they create objectives related to the theme, central theme. Now let's try a quick activity. can you open your, or turn on your phone, and let's try to have this quick activity.
来，我们来扫一下 QR code 哦，我们来玩一下这个 Slido 的这个活动。
Okay, so the theme, since we have math teacher, the PE teacher, the science teacher, the theme will be about winter. So you try to come up with, Alright, so you are going to type what content will you teach using the theme winter. So maybe I'm going to give you 1 minute to try to type what content. You can try to type in Chinese if you cannot, but I recommend that it's also in English, but yeah. So I'm going to give you 1 minute. Okay, 1 minute starts now. Sorry. Okay. Here. Show. Here. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to type what kind of content using the theme winter. What kind of content in mathematics? Seven, 6. Okay. So far we are waiting for some answers. But so far, if like we're talking about art, what kind of topic will we have?
Draw a picture about winter.
Winter, yeah. It's about paintings during winter or picture. Picture, yes. That could be like analyzing pictures during winter. How about mathematics? Using winter as the theme.
数学老师，冬天可以教什么呢？温差。Snowflake.
Snowflake?
The angle of snowflake.
Yeah, the angle of snowflake.
Or the gap of temperatures.
Yeah, temperatures also.
Yes.
Good. How about PE?
The marathon, they will mostly hold on maybe in winter instead of summer. So maybe we can discuss things like marathons.
Marathons, yeah. Winter marathons. Or winter, there's something winter Olympics. The games played during winter.
How about biology?
Biology.
The effect of the cold weather on the human body.
Yeah.
We want to eat more. We want to sleep more.
Yeah, like Aniki said.
Yeah, thank you, Nikki. Yeah, it's about the, because biology is the study of life. So what is the effect of the winter temperatures to our body? So, for example, eating more, sleeping more, and many,
Thank you,
etc. Okay, now let's have. Oh, where are we? So here. Okay, so in content, it's not only about getting knowledge from the teacher, but sometimes we have to let the students explore content. How do we do that? I'm going to present ways later on. And also to create, or the classroom content should be meaningful in a sense that it focuses on real life problems. What is the problem that we experience right now? For example, the money, the inflation, or the changing temperature,
The global warming.
the terrorist attacks in different countries. So Mostly, it's problem-based, facing mankind, okay, while connecting with the daily lives of our students and their areas of interest. We have to also use the data from our students and make it as part of our lesson because that's very essential. Usually when we plan, it's only about teachers, but I have heard from other teachers also in Taiwan that they also plan with the students. They ask what do they want to learn. The KWL, what do they know? What do they want to know? And at the end, what have they learned? So this will be, at the beginning, they only will fill out what do they know and what do they want to know. And then this learned is a form of assessment whether they have acquired something from the clear lesson. Okay, next one is communication. This is more into English. Content is more into content teachers like math, PE, arts, and music, or other subject areas. But in communication, we use language as a tool for communication. Sometimes in traditional English classes, they learn English for test, for grammar. But in CLIL, we use sentence patterns, we use actual conversation to let the students be engaged with English classes. That's why they say a language class is a noisy class. Because you cannot expect students to just feel silent there, not talking, because it's a language class. They are supposed to talk. Okay? And then we have here other ways, like in order for the students to talk, we encourage student to student, like think, pair, share approach. Like for example, I give a question, like how do you feel? And then for 1 minute they answer the question, and then after 1 minute they choose a partner. They will talk about that, and then after 1 minute they choose another partner. That's think, pair, share. And then student to group communication must be put forward. Because most of the time in bilingual lessons, the teacher talks a lot compared to the students. That's the struggle as of now. We have to be honest, and we're currently working on it in order to make it student-centered. And then the appropriate scaffolding in the form of vocabulary. In the lesson plan, we identify what words will they need to know. For instance, the topic is what's the topic a while ago about winter? The content. It's about the degree of
The degree of temperature.
the degree of temperature. Using that content, what words should the students need to know about English? That's the part of English teachers. Okay, we have what language structures, what activities that will practice their interaction. Next one is, for example, in mathematics, they will find the content is about finding triangles in Christmas decorations, and then the communication is to identify which side is, okay, let's erase this one. Okay, this one, this is the right triangle. This is the longest one is the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse, we have the adjacent, and then opposite. Okay, so using this knowledge, they will learn about hypotenuse, about opposite, about adjacent, and they talk about Christmas tree, the Christmas decoration, like Christmas tree. Also, they classify shapes by using the sentence, that is not, or that is a triangle, that is not a triangle. So we provide vocabularies or sentence patterns, and then they use it while talking to their classmates. Okay, let me erase this one. Alright. What else, aside from this? What else? What language? For English teachers, what language? If this is the topic, finding triangles in Christmas decorations, what kind of vocabularies can we teach?
How do we calculate? How do we calculate the degrees of this triangle?
Okay, so we talked about degrees.
Degrees.
The degrees, good. The angle,
Angles.
the angles of the triangle. So these are the words that they will need to learn about mathematics. Oh, what happened? Okay. Alright, so for example, okay, instead of using Slido, we'll talk about geography this time. The countries that celebrate Christmas and their tradition. If that is our topic, what kind of vocabulary? For English teachers, what kind of vocabulary and sentence patterns will we make if this is the topic?
Pictures.
Pictures.
Picturesque.
Picturesque.
Yes.
Okay.
Or a sentence pattern.
Yeah, sentence pattern could be.
Using sentence pattern to describe the Christmas is so. The idea of Christmas is so wonderful that everybody enjoys it. So blah 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 that.
Okay. That could be a possible one, but it's a bit long.
A little bit long.
Long. One example could be, since it's about tradition, you can because it's about tradition. I celebrate Christmas by, okay, or they celebrate Christmas. In European countries celebrate Christmas by, so that could be a sentence pattern to talk about traditions and culture. Next one is cognition. Cognition means the brain. What should the student do during the lesson? Okay, so we encourage higher order thinking skills. For this topic, I will give Brian later on to talk about the higher order thinking skills and enable learners to create their own interpretation of content. And they transform traditional teaching to modern student-centered type of teaching. In this kind of cognition, we ask the students to manipulate learning. That's why it will take the teacher's adjustment to transform their traditional teaching to student-centered teaching. And the struggle with that is it will take time, especially if you need to beat a certain deadline. But it will be more effective on the part of the students because they will be able to they will have aroused their higher order thinking skills. It's not only about listening, it's not only about memorizing, but they were able to critically analyze, to identify which is good and which is bad. Okay? For example, you can scan this QR code. I actually made this web quest when I was in Kaohsiung, and I talked about Halloween. And then in this kind of activity, okay, let me just, you can scan this QR code to explore the web quest that I made before. I grouped the students into different areas. Like for example, group 1 is assigned, Group 1 is assigned to answer questions about Asia. Group 2 is about Europe. Group 3 is about America. Group 3 is about Africa. Group 3 or Group 4. So you can see here, if I will click here, there are questions. What country will you present? What is the name of their Halloween celebration? And you can see here, there's also a Chinese translation because it's bilingual. CLIL is bilingual approach. Why do they celebrate it? For example, Group 1, Asian Halloween, Philippines. We have Taiwan. So instead of the teacher talking about traditions, it's the students doing the job. Okay, they explore, but there is a guide. This is what we call web quest. Web quest. Okay. Another one is the jigsaw activity. In this kind of activity, same, using the same content. We have Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, Group 4, and then each member, they have a number. 1, for example, Duncan, Jesse, Leanne, and Brian, Group 1. I am 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the same with other group, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the next activity is each number, they have a question to answer. And then the next step is Group 1, all Group 1 will be together to answer the same question. Group 2 will be together. Group 3, number 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and then 4, they answer the same question. And after 5 minutes, they go back to the same groupings. And then they share their answers. That's what we call jigsaw activity. And it encourages students to analyze content instead of listening to the teacher only. Another one is the flipped classroom. Are you familiar with flipped classroom?
翻转教室。
Flipped classroom. This is they call it flipped. Flip. Okay. Flipped classroom means in traditional setting, when the teacher enters the classroom, she will talk about the topic, and then the student will listen, and then after the discussion, the student will be given an activity. That's traditional. But in flipped classroom, sometimes in traditional setting, because they only have little time to finish an activity, they even take this as homework. But in flipped classroom, their homework is watching the video of the teacher talking about the content or subject matter. And then when the student enters in the classroom, they already know what will be the topic. And what happens in the classroom is more on activities. And that encourages student interaction more, instead of teacher just talking in class. So that's what we call flipped classroom. So instead of making the teacher talk, you make it as a homework, and they just listen. And they validate, they check their understanding if what they know is right or wrong by engaging in activities during the lesson. That's flipped classroom. And that's one way to encourage higher order thinking skills. Oh, just to recall, we have 3 C's so far. What's the first C? Content. The second C? Okay, communication. Content is more on the PE teachers, the other subject teacher. Communication is English teachers. And then we have another C? Cognition. For the students, it's more on the students, and culture. Last one is culture. And the students need to learn about other countries. I remember when my colleague told me he is talking about international travel, about what happens in Spain if you do hitchhiking, for example. And then when he shared that topic, the students tend to be more interested, tend to be more engaged. But when he talked about grammar, the students just look at him and they're not interested anymore. So what does that mean? If you let the students learn about other countries, about new things, they get more interested compared to traditional topics like grammar or like vocabulary. They are not really interested in that. And then show that Other cultures tend to see things differently, have different values and beliefs. Just like in Christmas traditions, the topic I will show you later the video. In that lesson, we showed that in Philippines, we celebrate it by putting up paroles. Paroles or Christmas star, shining paroles. In other countries, they celebrate it by going to KFC in Japan. And then when they have found this one, it's a bit interesting for them, especially when I introduce the words like parol, korisomason ni Kentucky. So they get to be more interested when they get new information. And then it's also very important to globalize. Globalize means to globalize and localize. Localize means you talk about the culture in Taiwan. It's very important because the students know almost everything about Taiwan. They get related. And then it's also important to globalize because to make the students interested, to expand their mindset, their global outlook about things. And as I said a while ago, students get more interested if we talk about other countries, the culture in other countries. For example, the topic is countries that celebrate Christmas and their traditions. That's about geography. The subject is geography. And the culture is about Christmas traditions around the world. That will be the culture. Okay, another one. How about Christmas carols? If we talk about music, what will be the culture?
Carols from different countries.
Yeah, the ways how people in different countries do caroling. That could be about culture. Okay, culture is a necessary element in CLIL because they get to be more engaged and they get to challenge their critical thinking. So, all in all, what are the 4 C's? The first C is content, culture, communication, and cognition. Okay, now let's try this word wall. Kindly scan this QR code. And then please type your English name. Okay. So once that you have, if you can see the word wall, yeah, you can see this one. So I have 1 clue here. There's only 1 for content, 1 for culture, and then 3 for cognition, 3 for communication. So you're going to put it in the right box. So 1 content, 1 content and 1 culture, and then 3 communication, 3 cognition. So you try to analyze and classify the boxes into the right category. So maybe I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Oh, and you can try this one here. Yeah, you can answer.
Just directly move the blocks inside of the place. Is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah. For example,
Drag
communication about
the
English.
block.
Yes.
Words.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Culture.
culture.
Or content.
Content. I would say this one.
Yeah.
所以就把它拉下来就好。然后
Okay, perfect score. Okay, so wait. Okay, show answers. Okay, so if you have finished answering the activity, the content will be about continent. Do you know what is continent? Like America, Africa, Europe, Asia. That's continent and ocean. So it's about geography. And then communication, the 5 W's and 1 H. What, when, where, why, how. So using the topic continent and ocean, we use it to teach English. Another, comparative and superlative, like which continent is big, bigger, and biggest. And then another, words to describe location, like the land is huge or wide, something like that. And then cognition. The cognition are your objectives. Objectives. What will the students do? Like classify continents, to draw a graph for continent sizes, to locate continent and oceans in map, and then for culture to explain why we have a lot of continents in the world. Okay. Back. Here. So we are here on. Okay. So as you can see in your copy, we have a sample lesson plan.
好，我们有一个教案的范例给大家，教案范例。
Yeah, we have here the sample lesson plan. It's about continents and ocean, and these are objectives. And you can see here there's the Chinese translation, so you can understand how it is like to teach in CLIL format. And then the learning outcomes, understand. I think Teacher Brian will talk about objectives, Bloom's taxonomy later, so I'll not delve deeper on this. So we have here the Chinese. And then, the 4 C's, content, continents and oceans. Cognition, what will the student do in the lesson? So classify, to draw a graph, to locate countries, and many more. And then communication, what topic in English will they learn using continent and ocean? And then, so we have here strategies. And then culture, what kind of international perspective will they learn in this topic? So that's the 4C. Okay, I'm going to show you what we did with Leanne during our Christmas teaching observation. You can see our lesson plan also in the appendix I. Okay, appendix I, toward the world Christmas traditions around the world. So we have here. Okay, so we have here.
No, not exactly.
Alright. Leanne will say,
Please bring me an image of a star.
okay, so the first activity is about bring me. They're going to bring different objects. Yeah, we have new terms also like shepherd. Shepherd. Yeah, so the other teacher also talked about the Chinese translation. That's what we call translanguaging.
Okay.
Alright, now that Leanne has finished talking about or doing the bring me activity, we summarized what are the vocabulary. That's under communication. So we have here the calendar, the shepherd, the devil, the church. These are symbols around the world. So the topic, the content is Christmas traditions around the world. Communication, these are the vocabularies. Okay, that's C. We have 2C already. And the culture are the different Christmas traditions in 12 countries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have Sweden, Philippines, Japan, Iceland, Denmark, and many more. El Salvador, Switzerland. And so that's the culture. And then for cognition, one activity that they did, okay, it's related to geography. They located where is Philippines, where is South Africa, where is Iceland. So that's under cognition because they try to explore by themselves the location of these specific countries. Another is they also, here in this part, second part. Okay, so this QR code is a website of the Christmas traditions, and I gave them questions, and through that question, they have to read the website to find the answer. So that's the 4C, cognition, the communication, the culture, and content. Okay, so lastly, we talk about the Quill pyramid and how we make our own lesson plan. So we first, just like what we did, we choose our topic. That's the side of both the English and the content teachers. The second one is the choice of media. Scaffolding means what are the ways you do to support, to make the students understand more the topic. Like for example, you give them video, you give them podcast. Do you know podcast? Yeah, you give them podcast, or you give them a bar graph, okay? Or you give them a demonstration of badminton. So that's the choice of media. What are the ways you do to make the students understand more the lesson? And the task design is what kind of project will the students do to accomplish the topic. And I'm going to show you a sample so that you will have a clear perspective. For example, the topic is about climate. Do you know what is climate? Like for example, winter. I know it's not climate, no.
Humid.
Yeah, the humid, hot, the different kinds of weather. Okay, that's the climate. And then, in order for you to teach climate, you give them images. You give them tables. What subject is this? Climate.
Geography.
Climate. It's not mathematics.
It's more geography.
Geography. Yeah, it could be geography. It could also be science. Okay. Yeah, because in the Philippines we have this lesson in science. And then the language skill. By the way, we have 4 language skills. What is the first one? Listening. Reading. Good. Writing. Speaking. And in coming up your lesson plan, you have to identify for English teachers what kind of skill will you let the students hone during the lesson. So we have here speaking, reading, and the task. What will the students make at the end of the lesson? So since the topic is about climate, they will make a poster, okay, out of the topic climate. And then what is the higher order thinking? They will compare different climate, like how's the climate in Taiwan with Canada? How's the climate in Taiwan compared to Philippines, to South Africa? So in this kind of scenario, we are also exposing them to culture. how does the country experience climate in a specific country? That's how we plan using CLIL pyramid. So if you get the chance to collaborate with us, then we can use this format to plan the lesson using the CLIL pyramid, the topic, media, language skill, task, and higher order thinking. Okay, so I think I already. Alright, so that ends my presentation about CLIL. I hope you learned something about the structure and format of the CLIL. And thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you, Teacher JC. Would you like to give us a Q&A time for your topics regarding CLIL?
Okay.
好，老师们有没有任何的问题想要就是问呢？大家觉得刚刚这一场英文课大家学的如何？就是那个老师晏殊老师，你有没有什么问题想要问老师呢？晏殊老师。
Like in physical education, there's you mostly mention about like activities in classes. I mean in classrooms. But like in outdoor, there is no such like computer or like things like that to show some information. So I think it's a difficult to have them both carrying their phones and practicing the sports. Yeah, I think there's a problem for me.
For scaffolding, we can also use actual demonstration to support student learning. And then while the PE teacher is demonstrating, the English teacher cites what vocabularies are the techniques. Like for example, smash in badminton, smash or the badminton racket, the shuttlecock. So the scaffolding could be more on demonstration. Okay, so I think that could also be applicable in PE. The same is true with arts, because you get a lot of scaffolding, like giving them paintings, giving them images. In mathematics, you give them formulas, but particularly in mathematics, we focus more on real-life problems. Okay, in science, I think it is also applicable with science, in history, geography, computer also. They learn English using the topic in computer, for example, how to edit videos. What are the terms that they need to know when editing video, like transition,
用一个过渡的方式来做。
text.
接续性的一个任务来完成。
Text box. Okay. So there are a lot of ways to let the students support what they want to know in a certain CLIL. I say CLIL because it's not about only English, but it's a collaboration between the content teacher and the English teacher. CLIL does not work if there's only one teacher. There must be at least 2 teachers in the class.
Yes. Thank you, Jessie Sensor. 谢谢晏殊的问题，非常的practical， 非常实用哦。然后刚刚老师有提到，就是其实在 CLIL 的教室里面呢，不会只有一个老师，会是有2个老师的，一个是 for content， 另外一位是 for language 的老师。当然，如果一个subject teacher 他可以既教 language 又教 content 的话，当然是非常非常的卓越。但我们现在呢还在初期的阶段，所以我们的双语的教室里面呢，其实应该还是要有2位老师会比较适当的。是。
Yeah, it is very important because students do not learn English as a subject, but as a way to learn different subjects. Like, they can learn English through math, they can learn English through PE, they can learn English through arts and music. So that's the advantage because it is not boring. Because when you teach students English about grammar, just like what I have mentioned, they'll give you that kind of things, the vocabulary. They'll just yawn during class.
Yes. Totally understandable. How about Jay? Do you have any questions?
No.
you.
No, really?
Yes.
Okay, how about 永胜？
我的问题比较是说，有一些偏数学的名词，本来需要念，但是不太需要找谁讨论。比方说，invest usually say that we 整理这个算式，but what the word in English?
So regarding the special terms, specialized terms in mathematics in this field, Mr. Teacher Yongsen's question is who he can turn to.
Sometimes it's the English teacher should also ask the content teacher what kind of vocabulary should the student learn. Because I also co-teach with math with the director Mimi, and I also ask what kind of terms should the student learn, and sometimes I also suggest. So it must be there in clear planning, in lesson planning, there must be a time where you collaborate. Because in my other subjects, I don't have co-planning, and sometimes it is not effective. But in my other classes like math, art, it tends to be effective because there's a time for co-planning, and we get to make the objectives clear. What should we do during class?
Yes.
So that's.
So 永胜你的问题呢，我们可以在共备的时候得到解答哦。因为我们在共备的时候呢，我们会有双语老师啊 ，Brian 老师，还有 Duncan 老师都会一起来跟你一起共备。那像根据 JESSY 的经验，他是跟李荣斌主任一起共备的，然后他就会问李荣斌主任，那学生们需要知道哪些专有的名词，那主任就会告诉他要教什么，这样子。那你也可以根据你的专业，让你的学生知道他们必须得知道什么样的专业名词。
And sometimes in mathematics, we only choose, especially I teach in vocational classes, so the terms tend to be a little bit, only a few, so that they get to practice more. Like whenever I enter the class, they already know triangles. Okay, so that's it.
OK， 所以呢，在职业课学生的数学的双语课程里面，他们只要认识三角形。是这样子的吗 ？That simple?
No, a triangle like a hypotenuse, the adjacent, opposite, and also the sentence pattern, like which is not a triangle. But for bilingual classes, I tend to get a higher level.
Yes.
That's why we are here right now, because I think you are all teaching in the bilingual class. So we can make the activities a little bit higher that trigger their critical thinking.
Yes, yes. So I would suggest that Teacher JESSY can collaborate with Teacher Yongsen, and you can combine together to do some co-planning together, and with Duncan. And
Usually I cooperate,
Yes.
and
as a learning group together. And how about principal? Do you have any questions for Teacher JESSY?
JD presentation is so wonderful. Let us give her a big hand.
Thank you so much.